Okay, welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time. In Never a Second in Rome, this is the third part. We've just entered the second training phase. And one of the things we have in front of us is picking a notable legionary. Notable legionaries, of course, don't need to necessarily be specialized in anything. Though they could potentially be serving as an alternative to one of our other guys in case they die. Let's try to run a guy who's actually going to be potentially good at killing things. We can send someone out to do some killing. So make him best at sword. Okay. Sword. Strength. Constitution. Endurance. Quickness, coordination. Shield. Bravery. This is the guy we're going to go send in to kill things. So, presumably he's not the smartest of tools in the shed. .66 strength, 66 swords. This guy's got an above average sword. Nice. Gaius Gabinius. Send in the Gabini. Okay, training. We're going to back off a little bit on supervision and administration. Take a thing of education this cycle. Probably focus on coordination otherwise, for us personally. We're going to stay on frequent artillery. Back off on other duties. Raise javelin. Probably try to raise constitution and coordination. Oh, and we'll go strength, a little bit in strength as well. We do want the troops' opinion to rise a little bit, so we're going to try to get opinion that way. Summary. So we're still the bottom rank of a commanding officer. We have quite a bit of potential to gain in sword, shield, javelin, and discipline. Caesar's opinions up a little bit. Integrity, religion, and troop opinions up a little bit. As far as the sentry is concerned, our potentials didn't necessarily increase that much, so we're gonna gain that skill a little bit slower at this point because we're catching up on our potential. We'll spend a little bit of money on providing a good time to the entire sentry. And then what about... Oh, I need to spend one more point personally. Constitution. I suppose we can go... Yeah, we don't need the strain malice. We don't really care for the morale either. Okay, so we'll do that. We all lost a little bit of morale. Granted, I did an effect that raised morale, so we're returning to normal. That's probably what's happening. Sentry, bonuses in basically fighting. All of the named characters gained a little bit of endurance. And our men starting with the G gained a little bit in their combat abilities. Cool. Launch event. The last reaction is still fresh in the memory of your men. It discourages further attempts to bribe their way out of duty. People remember the last time I told them, no, I'm not being bribed, and that personally has already just immediately had to rate our integrity more. Okay, again, not really that worried about education, so we just took it for the one turn, so we didn't have it decline. And then we'll put that into strength training. Troops are currently responding poorly to training, including the individuals. Oh dear. Still trying to raise that artillery. We'll probably... When we're within 10 of artillery, I'll probably swap back to sporadic instead of frequent artillery training. And we got an event. Equipment penalties have been suspended, so this is an event where the equipment doesn't get in the way. Somewhere in the camp, Gabinius is dicing with a bunch of soldiers from different centuries. Luck is not on his side. At the third dog, the worst role in the game, he starts to lose his temper. Complaints quickly escalate into open insults, and in no time, players are coming to blows. Awareness, coordination, quickness, strength. This is Gabinius. This is the guy we've trained, the guy we picked specifically for sending into fights in a fight. Okay. Quickness, strength, awareness, coordination. It's got 59 awareness. It's got pretty high coordination, so that's double the size, pretty decent at. Or quickness, strength. Granted, he's even better at quickness and strength. So he's just gonna punch his rival. Successfully punches. Impact makes the other guy reel back. Check. Many of the bystanders belong to your unit. They may do something before it gets any worse. Everyone perform a discipline check and fail the discipline check. Instead of intervening to stop the brawl, my troops have no discipline and it just gets out of hand. Another scrapper charges Gabinius. Quickness, awareness, strength, constitution. He's got good strength, constitution, so he's just gonna beat the insult head on. And yeah, tackles the opponent, sends him to the ground. The last of the bystanders just reach to separate the brawlers. Later he informed what's happened. You're told that Gabinius who started the insult. Sorry, Gabinius. Discipline is in order. You guys didn't have enough discipline. So he loses some morale, but he gains some discipline. We got another event. Ostius, intervening in training. Yeah, we can use charisma here to tell him, hey, you're getting a little out of line, and he agrees. He's taken a little back at first. When you explain the reasons, he accepts them with no hard feelings. His meddling stops. Our supervision's actually probably a little high. Let's back off. Supervision. And strength, and I'm going to apply that to administration. Let's get some other duties this time. Suppose we do have an option for specialization in here. Each noble legionary staff member can exercise training. Points from specialization bonus, but other trainings available for specialization, and those only receive 10% only. Okay, I'm not going to bother with the specialization. So you gain some engineering, some javelin coordination. Artillery. Do you want the sentry to gain any more? Yeah, we'll go ahead and take the last turn, it'll be fine. Okay, time to move on. From administration and other duties, we gain some more Caesar opinion. As promised, a general assembly with the leaders from all over Central Gallia is held. It is obvious that an issue of great importance and secrecy is being discussed with Caesar. Soon after, Caesar sends a delegation towards the land of the Suquani. Then they're following the return of the first. It takes a while before you're informed what is going on. Central Gallia is inhabited by many tribes. The land is rich, and their prosperous cities are often visited by merchants from the Republic. But these tribes are divided by rivalry and strife, and are often in conflict with one another. One important faction is led by the Iduini, the other by the Avreni. It is not too uncommon for the Gaelic chiefs to seek allies, even from abroad, to increase their prestige and to strengthen their armies. Years ago, the Avreni and the Sequani hired a Germanic king, Avristos, to overcome the rival coalition. The Iduini were soundly defeated, they had to surrender hostages and pay tribute. Ironically, the winners suffered even worse consequences. Avrunos and his army liked what they found in Gallia. They claimed for themselves one-third of the countryside of the Sequani, and the very people who had originally hired them. It did not stop there. Even now, Avrunos, Aristius, keeps receiving reinforcements from beyond the Rhine while ordering the Sequani to abandon more of the land so he can settle the newcomers. Both the Iduini and the Sequani are your allies, but the situation is even more delicate than it appears because last year, when Caesar himself was consul in Rome, the Senate declared Aristus a friend of the Roman people in an attempt to preserve diplomatic balance in this crucial region. The declarations that left in the past few weeks were attempts to establish talks with the Germanic king, to ask for a stop to the arrival of more settlers to the territory of the Sequani, and for a restitution of the hostages to the Iduini. They were met with scorn and disdain. Avristus claimed to rule by right of strength. Is not, after all, the same law exercised by Rome? And then things started going downhill very fast. Not only messengers from the Iduini reported raids against the Fromlands and the Hardros, the latest Germanic tribe to have joined the Avristus from across the Rhine, but tens of thousands more of another tribe, the Suebi, were preparing to traverse the river. If Caesar did not respond to the request of help by the long-standing allies of Rome, his reputation will take a tremendous hit. You can see the lack of enthusiasm on the faces of your men as you repeat the order that has been imparted to all Sic legions. Preparations must begin immediately to set off and march east. Barely time to recover from the bloody confrontation in the Helvetii. Another war is in the making. Jülich Vestinino, the main city of the Sequani. After several days of forced march, it's difficult not to be fascinated by the unique beauty of this place. The river Doubs describes an unusual curve that surrounds the city almost completely. A tall hill occupies the only section of the border that is not traversed by the river. An outstanding natural defense encircled by a wall that joins it to the city itself. The strategic value of Vestino and its rich granaries is obvious. It's a good thing that you arrived here before Avricius. Next morning, the Optio returns from an errand in town with a squad of legionaries. He asks to speak to you. We passed the bravery check. You met a Roman merchant, one which was dealt with the people of Aristus several times during the last few seasons. The trader had a lot to say about the Germani, how they are physically imposing as giants and fierce in appearance, and each as strong as two men. He also recounted the tales he has heard from the locals, horrifying reports of feral savagery of battle. The legionnaires are now shaken by the prospect of facing these formidable warriors. Leatus at least seems to be in control of himself, but he's concerned about how these tales might affect the troops' morale. So, the sentry lost some morale. The guy who passed the check, basically, because this is including morale, or including individuals, he's gained 10, offsetting the loss from the sentry to himself. There have not been many confrontations between the Germani and your people, but those that have occurred left quite the impression. The disaster at Aricio happened at the time of your grandfathers, a massacre that rivals the Cannae as the most tragic in the memory of the Republic. It took the military genius of Marius to stop the ferocious barbarians from the north. So we can assemble the men and dress them immediately, or do nothing, or just stick to your schedule. No, we'll dress them immediately. We've got charisma. We tried to alleviate their fears, at least partially. And because we did this immediately, this has also raised our opinion, or raised Caesar's opinion of us. In the rest of the army, things are getting out of hand. Soldiers and officers alike talk with the locals every day, and the tales of the dreadful Germani keep spreading. Sentiment dangerously similar to the panic is set beginning. You hear the Tribune confess to another that he wrote a will just in case, suggesting that his colleagues should do the same. You were reporting to the Pithis prior about his morning's activities when suddenly a war council is called. All centurions must attend, all of them, not just the primary ordes, the sentries of the first cohort that outrank the rest. So normally it's the first cohort sentry gets cold and you have a small warming. This is all of them are cold. Something's wrong. Caesar in person addresses you, his high-pitched voice delivering a powerful speech. The gestures with which he accompanies his words are graceful and intense. He is obviously an experienced orator. His sharp black eyes look over the assembly as he reprimands you all for questioning his leadership. It was Aristus who sought the friendship of the Roman people last year. Who could imagine that he would fail his duties so soon? There's still a chance to bring him back to his senses, for your demands are reasonable and just. Even if he is a fool enough to wage war against you, what do you have to fear? The Germani are not invincible, as Marius showed in the past, and his army deserves as much glory as the commander. They prove the strength of mind can defeat a long-feared enemy. You yourselves have already vanquished the Helvetii. The same Helvetii fought against the Germani on many occasions and often prevailed. Proconsul gives you orders to depart tonight in the 4th watch. Those who are too afraid to follow him can remain here. If necessary, he will go with the 10th Legion alone, for he knows their loyalty is above questioning. The speech works like a charm. The tribunes of the 10th are the first to thank Caesar for his trust, declare they are ready to follow him. The rest shamed into apologizing and going along with the flow. Shift in general mood is palatable. Everyone seems once again concentrated on the task at hand. Plus 10 morale, including all individuals. And we can pass an intellect check. We happen to fail the intellect check. We are not immune to the wave of renewed enthusiasm. Okay. And Lavinius gains some bonus morale. Oh, we gain some bonus morale. Okay. You break camp at the designated time. After a 7-day journey through Roman grounds, scouts report that Aristus and his army are no farther than 24 miles. In fact, they are very soon to observe a continual coming and going of messengers, a sign confirming the rumors that a meeting between Caesar and Aristus is being arranged. 5 days later, the proconsul sets off with the soldiers of the 10th in a particular role of mounted escort, with horses kindly provided by the Gallic auxiliary cavalry. Whatever hopes there were of a peaceful resolution are quickly dispelled. With Caesar and his guard return, it is very clear that nothing has been achieved. You bacon a soldier of the 10th and ask him what came about. He says that a group of Gallic riders approached during the talks and threw stones at them. At least that's what some of his comrades said. His cohort was too distant to see anything. Anyway, the talks were curtailed as soon as that was reported to Caesar. 2 days later, Aristus offers to resume the discussion. The proconsul decides to send 2 men to hear what he has to say. One of them is Procilius, a Roman citizen of Gallic origin from Gallia Transalpina. A young man who has earned Caesar's trust. The other is Metius, who dealt with Aristus several times in the past and knows him well. You wait. People who are not in your line of business have no idea how much of your activity consists of killing time waiting for something to happen. I so know that feeling. The 2 ambassadors don't come back. Not a good sign. And on top of that, your scouts report the Germani are on the move. At the end of the day, you can see them from the ramparts, settling at the foot of the hill 6 miles from you. Following morning, they set off again, wagons and all. Create a large commotion, passing close to your camp, but they keep going without attacking. They stop and set up a new encampment only 2 miles away. There's a little field to relieve about, because you know all too well they have just cut off your supply line. For 5 consecutive days, Caesar orders the whole army to march out and form in front of the campsite, offering battle. Aristus refuses to bite. When you are led out for the 6th time, your army is arranged in 3 columns. But this time, you do not switch to the customary triple array, instead you are ordered to keep going until you reach a new site. Perhaps a little more than half a mile from your position. It's not as large as your main camp, but big enough, at least for a couple of legions. Column is ordered to assemble a new camp, while the other 2 take position to protect you. As you begin instructing your sentry, you see that the Germani are approaching, but for some reason, Aristus is not committing his full force. As if he were just trying to prevent you from fortifying this place, without really attempting to destroy you. But there's no time for musing, you must concentrate on your assignment. So, our sentry has been assigned to entrench a new camp. We've got 20 turns. A little hard to see how fast we're doing it, but we're just going to stick to normal speed. Not necessarily going to push the troops to work faster. Every once in a while we're getting successes, which is making us go a little bit faster. Okay, so if we proceed at normal speed, we'll be done next turn. Let's try for a little bit of superior quality, and then we'll finish up right on time. The rest of your army plays its part and holds off the tentative assault of the Germani while we finish the job. When the new camp is ready and the Ristus calls off the attack, legions of the 7th are ordered to stay here. A detachment of auxiliaries will provide further support. The bulk of Caesar's forces go back to the main base. The supply line is restored. Time is one less enemy to worry about. The next day, the legions from both bases are conducted to the field facing the enemy, but Ristus declines battle once again. The sun is still high in the sky when all the corps is sent back to their respective camps. Once again, you do not even have time to loosen up before you hear the dreaded trumpet blast that signal an imminent attack. You bell orders to get the sentry relay. Everyone around you is bustling in frantic activity. You look at the approaching host. As before, it is only a fraction of his force, but you are outnumbered. Solid defensive position should be enough to hold them off, but you have to do your part. We've got to check. The crew is manning the Sentry Scorpion. There should be enough time for one shot. So we fire the siege weapon. And because we trained hard with that siege weapon, the check succeeds. The bolt falls a little short, but is enough to cause a little havoc amongst the enemy Orions right in front of you. +1 to our potential artillery score. Check. The assailants are nearly enough for a javelin throw. And while not much of a volley, it does create some confusion in the enemy lines. So success there. Range defense, as we receive the enemy's volley, succeed as well. No relevant damage to our unit. The Germani is closing in. You must prepare to repel them. Keep it as simple as possible. Just hold the ground. No heroics from your sentry. Or we can try to go for some heroics. No, I'm not sure if discipline is high enough for heroics. So keep it simple. We succeed. The clash is intense, but we hold fast. When the enemy disengages, you are relieved to observe that your sentry is suffering no casualties. Many of the sentries have not been so lucky. The Germani have also paid a heavy price. You watch as this group of prisoners is led away for interrogation. Combativeness points are converted in everyday morale with a ratio of 4-1. Another uneventful night came and went. Today, your cohort stands in the third line of the fully deployed army, approximately behind the left wing. You advance so close to the Germanic camp that Aristus cannot let the front go without losing face. Talking with the Tribune this morning, you learn from an interesting development. Some of the prisoners captured yesterday have been forced to reveal the reason behind Aristus' reluctance to engage in battle. Apparently, the matrons in the enemy camp have consulted the omens, as is customary, or as is the custom, and have advised Aristus that victory would elude him until the new moon. Caesar is obviously trying to force an unwilling to enemy fight. This time you don't have to wait long. The Germani respond. See them abandon the high position where their wagons are stationed. The cohorts in the first two lines are confining your view now, but you can hear strange roar from the groves and slowly become more intense. It has a rhythmic nature, like a battle song, but with indefinite inhuman quality that makes your skin crawl. It must be the famous Baritius, the Germanic war cry. We can encourage the troops so they don't get caught up in the fear and retain control over ourselves. No, we're going to encourage the troops. We have the charisma for this. And we succeed. Our voice sounds firm, and we manage to convey confidence to our men. When the two armies clash, the thundering noise is staggering. You can only wait, trying yet failing to pick up any hints about the tide of the battle. The fighting has been going for a while. The cohorts in the second line have gone forward to support the first, but from what you can see, which is not much, the situation seems to hang in the balance. More time passes. You see the Opportuns behind the left wing getting more and more fast-paced. This does not look reassuring. You hear two legionaries next to you say something. They are pointing behind. Courier is galloping towards the legate in charge of your legion. Very soon, the order to advance is given. You must go support the first two lines. Your force is not fully trained, but the enemy must be tired now. This could give you the edge we need. Do we ask the gods' favor in the impending battle? Of course. You know what? I haven't been spending very much money. We're going to spend money. We're going to get an altar to Jupiter, Juno, and Mars. Jupiter, Juno, and Mars. Done. Spending the money. Okay, cohesion Enemy must be 1850 or less at the end of the fight, which means we only have to drive the cohesion down by 100. And our cohesion must stay higher than theirs. The sentry directly obtains initiative because the opponent cannot throw. So if the enemy doesn't have any things to throw at us, we're going to throw stuff. We do some damage. Seize the initiative. Yeah, we'll come in with a fierce commitment. Attempt to seize initiative and fail. Fierce to be fierce. The enemy has managed to kill one of our guys. Okay, so if we drop back to Steadfast, we're actually going to lose atomic capacity. I'm going to try to gain the momentum. I managed to not manage to get enough momentum yet. We're involved in a brief fight. Okay, we're going to take a careful stance. The enemy is fatigued. Try to recover. Successfully recover some stance. Try to cover stance a little bit more. There we go. We're going to try to meet our commitment expectations. No, we failed. Okay, we lost a little bit of valor because we weren't committed enough to trying to kill enemies. Focusing a little bit too much on survival. Julius is in battle. We'll just come in regular with him. Try to intimidate him. Successfully intimidates. Gonna try to feint. Fails the feint. Alright, well, at least this guy's not gonna lose any valor. So let's go for an intimidate. Okay, this fight's likely about to end, so let's try to get a blow off if we can. No. Inconsequential, but at least no Valhalla lost. Okay, we're gonna lose a little bit of momentum here, but we're gonna try to stabilize the line. We'll let them try to go out of balance, ideally. Nope, looks like we're really going to fall back to cautious. Okay, managed to balance up. Alright, we're going to go back to steadfast. Try to do a little bit of damage before we disengage. Okay, we're disengaging. Okay, and apparently we were forced to do a recon pact, which we did. We got more Kijin back than they did. It's good to see. So in this case, we don't have the weight of the formation here advantage in our favor. Just gonna stick to a steadfast approach. Yeah, right now they have a bigger front than us. So they've got 22 versus our 20. So we need to break down their front a little bit before we can go for full weight attacks like we were previously. So they're being very cautious, which in some ways is working to our advantage. Let's continue to just be steadfast for a bit. Hammer them a little bit. We're coming off better even with the imbalance right now. Roll to do some damage, but at the cost of getting some more in balance. Now we go for disengage. We go to reorganize our things, they go to reorganize their things. We're coming off better in that. Ball continues. Seize the initiative. Yeah, let's come in fierce. We successfully seize the initiative. Let's actually continue being committed to fierce. Apparently we've got an advantage for aggressive here. And they do have a pole arm front, so if we get their front below 300, we do get an advantage. Yep, stay on steadfast. Okay, they're very cautious. Let's fall back to cautious as well. Try to store our balance a little bit. We're involved in a fight. Okay, they're quite fatigued, so we're just gonna come in regular. We'll start off by intimidating them. Roar! In with a feint, try to take advantage of their lower morale and their intimidation. Oh, we're coming in very dangerous here for them. Bunch of damage. Bunch of damage. Trying to reorganize himself, but I'm just we're coming at him. Coming at him hard, coming at him fast. Looks like we're actually gonna bring this guy down. Yeah, run him down. 1 kill for us. Crushing one-on-one victory. We took no damage, he's dead. Alright, I think that's a good time to give ourselves a break. Put ourselves in the rear and get some fatigue back. I think we're balanced enough. Let's go ahead back to steadfast. Our front's starting to break. Seize the initiative, yes. Come in, it's only +4 for fierce, so I don't think we're going to bother with fierce. Just come in steadfast. We managed to seize that initiative. Yep, just come in and pound them. No kills in that round. No successful threats yet. Oh, I was going to put myself in the rear, and I'm still in the front. Alright, move to the back. Oh, I don't have anyone I can assign to the spearhead. Okay. Let's actually move cautious for a moment, get our imbalance back down. If we're getting punished for it. Okay, we managed our battle assessment. Managed to get them below 850. That wasn't quite as successful as the previous one. It's difficult to determine what triggered exactly, but gradually you realize the whole enemy line is collapsing. There are casualties during battles, but when one of the two armies breaks and is routed, that is when the real slaughter begins. The Rhine flows not far from here, perhaps 2 hours' walk. The fleeing Germanic fighters and their people, who are watching the battle from the wagons, make a desperate effort to reach its safety, where cavalry pursues them relentlessly. At the end of the day, the scale of the carnage is mind-boggling. Later, prisoners reveal that Aristus had a small boat waiting on the western bank of the river and used it to escape. It matters little. He is no longer a threat. Most of those who followed him are not as lucky. Even his 2 wives were killed during the rout, and so was one of his daughters. The other was captured. You saw many who suffered the same fate, their lives turned to hopelessness by the whimsical tide of battle. 2 ambassadors who had disappeared a few days before were found during the chase alive. Procilius says that his captors consulted the seers 3 times to decide whether he should be burned alive as an offering, and 3 times he was spared by the favor of the lots. We have kept the vow we made before the battle. Religion, 300 points. We lost a bunch of money because we spent a bunch of money to build that altar. Competitiveness points are converted to everyday morale at a 4-to-1 ratio. Lingering fatigue is greatly reduced for everyone, barring the effects of strain. Caesar is preparing to return to Gallia Cisalpine on the other side of the Alps, where his ordinary business as proconsul is waiting, but all the legions will spend their winter here in the lands of the Sequani. Labienus will take charge in his absence. So we've got paid a bunch of money, which roughly offset the cost to build that altar. The men are none too happy to be stationed so far from home. You wonder how the locals react in the long run, because your prolonged presence might start looking like more than a mere intervention in support of allies in distress. And I think this is where we're going to go ahead and put the part break in. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. I'm going to try to record 2 more parts tonight. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We'll pick this back up after a short break. Going to drink a little bit of tea to try to keep the voice good and going for the rest of the stream. So with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.